Hare Krishna. So, thank you everyone for tuning in today. So, we will be discussing chapter 11 of 7th Canto today. So, let me do short invocation and then we can discuss. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna everyone. So if you are in a position to read today, this is a short chapter, unlike the other chapters. So we will be reading some of the texts and maybe one or two purports as well. So Shama Shriji Mataji raised her hand. So if you are anyone else in a position to read, please raise your hand. So Jisha Mataji as well. Okay. So, right, this chapter is entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes. The first 10 chapters of the 7th canto talked about the story of Narsinghadev and Prahlad Maharaj, how Jai Vijay, the gatekeepers of Vaikunta, had fallen and have taken births as enemies of the Lord Hari, had been described in the first 10 chapters. This is called Uti. Uti means it's an inclination, auspicious inclination of Prahlad Maharaj, and inauspicious inclination of Hiranyakashipu have been extensively described in the first 10 chapters of 7th canto. So there are 15 chapters altogether in the 7th canto. So 10 out of 15, the 10 talks about Lord Narsinghadev and Prahlad Maharaj. And the remaining 5, they've been dedicated to the Varnashrama Dharma, the 4 spiritual orders and 4 social orders have been described in the last 5 chapters. So today in 7:11, 11th chapter, it is entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes. There are 35 verses. We'll be reading some of them, and we won't be reading every text, but we'll be reading some of them. Okay, so let's start with Shama Shriji Mataji. So if you can kindly read first 4 verses, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanvat Pranam. Text 1. Shukdev Goswami continued. After hearing about the activities and character of Prahlad Maharaj, which are adored and discussed among great personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Yudhishthir Maharaj, and the most respectful king among exalted personalities, again inquired from the great saint Narad Muni in a mood of great pleasure. Text 2. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, My dear Lord, I wish to hear from you about the principles of religion by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. I wish to hear about the general occupational duties of human society and the system of social and spiritual advancement known as Varnashram Dharma. Text 3. O best of the Brahmanas, you are directly the son of Prajapati, Lord Brahma. Because of your austerities, mystic yoga and trance, you are considered the best of all Brahma's sons. Text 4. No one is superior to you in peaceful life and mercy, and no one knows better than you how to execute devotional service or how to become the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, you know all the principles of confidential religious life, and no one knows them better than you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. This is a short section, as all of you know that the seventh canto, entire seventh canto, is a discussion between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narada Muni. Hmm? So Yudhishthir Maharaj was inquiring from Narada Muni, and Narada Muni is explaining it in detail. Hmm? So here Yudhishthir Maharaj, after hearing the activities, wonderful and glorious activities of Sri Prahlad Maharaj, uh, um, so he again inquired from sage Narad, um, in the mood of great pleasure. So he's basically asked two questions here. One he asked about, so he says, Shri Yudhishthira Vacha, Bhagavan Shrotumichami Nrunanam Dharmam Sanatanam. Second verse, let me read the Sanskrit. Shri Yudhishthira Vacha, Bhagavan Shrotumichami. Bhagavan here refers to, so, oh my Lord, is addressing Narada Muni, or Yudhishthir. Shrotumichami, I wanted to hear, I desire to hear, Ichami. Nrunam Dharmam Sanatanam. What is the eternal occupation of human beings? Eternal occupation means it will, Haribol? Yeah. So eternal occupation is the occupation which remains constant in wherever we are born, whichever birth we takes place, whichever form we are in. What is the eternal occupation? Nrunam Dharmam Sanatanam. And then Varna Shramachara Yutam Yat Puman Vindate Param. What is the Varnashrama system? Varnashrama system means following these four social and four spiritual orders is called Varnashrama. Everybody knows four social orders, is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. In English, we say intelligent class, administrative class, and then mercantile class, and labor class. That is the social orders. And the spiritual orders, four spiritual orders are brahmachari, a celibate, monk, and a student, and then brahmachari, grihastha, then householder life. Then you have vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is retired life, and then at the end, sannyas ashram is a renounced order of life. So he wants to know the details of these two, the ultimate occupation of a human being, and then the next is about varnashrama dharma. By following this, one can attain param, means one can attain perfection. Um, so here, Prabhupada writes a little bit about what we have discussed. Our Shamashri Mataji, would you mind reading the purport?
Sure, Prabhuji. Sanatan Dharma means devotional service. The word Sanatana refers to that which is eternal, which does not change but continues in all circumstances. We have several times explained that the eternal occupational duty of the living being is. What the occupational eternal duty of the living being is. Indeed, it has been explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jiver Sarup Hoye Krishna Nitya Das. The real occupational duty of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if one prefers to deviate from this principle, he remains a servant because that is the eternal position. But one serves Maya, the illusory material energy. The Krishna conscious movement, therefore, is an attempt to guide human society to serving the personality of Godhead instead of serving the material world and with no real profit. Our actual experience is that every man, animal, bird, and beast, indeed every living entity, is engaged in rendering service. Even though one's body or one's superficial religion may change, every living entity is always engaged in the service of someone. Therefore, the mentality of service is called the eternal occupational duty. This eternal occupational duty can be organized through the institution of Varnashram, in which there are four Varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and four ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanprastha, and Sannyas. Thus, Yudhishthir Maharaj inquired from Narad Muni about the principles of Sanatan Dharma for the benefit of human society. Thank you, Prabhu.
So thank you very much. Yeah, Prabhupada explains Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, he quotes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherein Mahaprabhu defines the eternal occupation of living entity to be the servant of Krishna. Hmm? Doesn't matter whether you're born in India or whether you're born in West, you are a Hindu, you are Hare Krishna, or you are a Christian, Muslim, or Jews or Buddhist, anyone else, the eternal, whoever they may be, the eternal occupation of every living entity is to be the servant, eternal servant of Krishna. Hmm? Uh, Okay, so then he glorifies Narada Muni, Yudhishthir Maharaj, after asking these two questions. Hmm? Sanatan Dharma, eternal religion of human beings, and then Varnashrama Dharma, the social and spiritual duties of human beings. Hmm? Then he glorifies Narada Muni. And Prabhupada writes and that we are also in the disciplic succession of Narada Muni. Um, you can see that we are in the disciplic succession of Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya. So that indicates from Krishna to Brahma, then from Brahma to Narad, Narad to Vasdev, Narad to Vyasdev, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, um, and from Vyasdev to Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya personally met Vyasdev in the Badrik ashram and had taken instructions. And in that line, Madhavendra Puri appeared in Madhva, and then we have Ishvara Puri and ultimately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hmm? So Prabhupada explains about that. Narada is, we are also in the parampara of Narada, disciplic succession. Okay, so let's read. Jisha Mataji, if you're in a position to read, please read 5 till 12.
Text 5. Sri Narada Muni said, after first offering my obeisances unto Lord Krishna, the protector of the religious principles of all living entities, let me explain the principles of the eternal religious system, of which I have heard from the mouth of Narayana. Text 6. Lord Narayana, along with his partial manifestation Nara, appeared in this world through the daughter of Daksha Maharaj known as Murti. He was begotten by Dharma Maharaj for the benefit of all living entities, Even now, he is still engaged in executing great austerities near the place known as Badarikashrama. Text 7. The Supreme Being, the Personality of Godhead, is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, the root of all religious principles, and the memory of great authorities. O King Yudhishthira, this principle of religion is to be understood as evidence. On the basis of this religious principle, everything is satisfied, including one's mind, soul, and even one's body. Text 8 to 12. These are the general principles of these are the general principles to be followed by all human beings: truthfulness, mercy, austerity, observing fasts on certain days of the month, bathing twice a day, tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, control of the mind, control of the senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, reading of scripture, simplicity, satisfaction, rendering service to saintly persons, gradually taking leave of unnecessary engagements, observing the futility of the unnecessary activities of human society, remaining silent and grave, and avoiding unnecessary talk, considering whether one is the body or the soul, distributing food equally to all living entities, both men and animals, seeing every soul, especially in the human form, as a part of the Supreme Lord, hearing about the activities and instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of the saintly persons, chanting about these activities and instructions, always remembering these activities and instructions, trying to render service, performing worship, offering obeisances, becoming a servant, becoming a friend, and surrendering one's whole self. O King Yudhishthira, these 30 qualifications must be acquired in the human form of life simply by acquiring these qualifications. One can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Narada Muni, before describing, he first remembered the Lord. This is the system, remembering Guru and the previous acharyas, and the Lord is important aspect. It tells us that a devotee depends on the Lord's mercy. Uh, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was a conversation between Mahaprabhu and there is another devotee. So Mahaprabhu was asking questions, and that another devotee was answering one by one. But
Ramanand Rai,
Ramanand Rai. Yeah, thank you. So Ramanand Rai was answering all the questions, but before he answered, he mentioned to Mahaprabhu, whatever you want me to speak, I'm speaking. You are the doer. You are using me as your instrument. So Mahaprabhu was getting excited. Mahaprabhu was asking questions, and hearing those answers from Ramanand Rai, he became excited. He became overwhelmed with joy. But Ramanand Rai told Mahaprabhu, whatever you want, you make me speak, I'm speaking. I'm nothing. I'm only the medium. I'm happy to be used as that medium and instrument. Here also, this is a quality of a devotee. And they depend on the mercy of the previous acharya. So Mangalacharan is a very essential aspect. Then he mentions this verse that he talks about Naranarayan Rishi. Naranarayan Rishi had appeared in the womb of Daksha's daughter. Daksha had several daughters, and one of the daughters' name was Murti. She was handed over to Dharma Maharaj. And through their combination, Murti and Dharma, they begot Naranarayan, the twin sons. So, and it says that is that Naranarayana Rishi is actually personified religion. Hmm? Personified religion, and he is still engaged in executing great austerities near Bhadrikashram. So then that Naranarayan Rishi is the Supreme Lord, of course. He himself is executing the penances. And then Narada Muni talks about this particular, talks on this verse. Dharma Moolam Yi Bhagavan. He is the root. Moolam means he is the root of Dharma. So by pleasing, by pouring water on the root, every part of the tree gets nourished because you are pouring water on the root. So if you really want to follow Dharma, a religion, the real religion is to please that Moolam, the root, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharma Moolam Hi Bhagavan. Sarva Vedamayo Harihi. And so the Vedas actually contain Hari, glorification of Hari. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Vedaicha Sarva Mahameha Vedyo. From all the Vedas, I am to be known. So here, Prabhupada writes therefore, from all the evidence, the conclusion is that without bhakti, devotional service, there is no question of religious principle. This is the real religion, devotional service. God is central figure in the performance of religious principles. Almost everything going on in this world as religion is devoid of any idea of devotional service. So, and is therefore condemned by the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam. Without devotional service, so-called religious principles are only fleeting. Dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nirumatsaranam satam. Srimad Bhagavatam kicks away the cheating religion. Cheating religion is religion that makes you engage in certain activities but makes you forget the devotional service unto the Lord. So Prabhupada writes here in this final paragraph that devotional service is the real religion. And then Narada Muni gives 30 qualities, and some of these qualities they can be seen in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Let me pull out 16th chapter BG. 16. Okay. So similar. These are divine qualities. A human being should try to acquire these qualities. So Krishna describes these qualities in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and 16th chapter is entitled as Divine and Demonic Natures. The qualities of both divine and demonic are given here. Hmm? And so the qualities here, 30 qualities out of 30, the 21 qualities, they are similar to the ones mentioned here. Abhayam, Sattva, Samshuddhir, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance, sacrifice, like that. So these are some of the similar qualities mentioned in the 16th chapter. Um, so here, 30 out of 30, and the 21 are secondary. The first 21 are called secondary qualities, uh, such as truthfulness. Prabhupada writes some of the beautiful points in the purport. Um, in order that human beings be distinct from the animals, the great saint Narada recommends that every human being to be educated in terms of above mentioned 30 qualifications. Nowadays, there is a propaganda everywhere, all over the world, for a secular state, a state interested only in mundane activities. But if the citizens of the states are not educated in the above mentioned good qualities, how can there be happiness? So, because there are no good qualities in human population, there is no happiness. Huh? Um, so, and these qualities, truthfulness, mercy, austerity. Austerity refers observing fast sunset and days of the month, or on the birthdays of the Lord, bathing twice a day, tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, mind control, sense control, practicing non-violence, practicing celibacy, charity, reading scriptures, simplicity, satisfaction, rendering service to saintly people, hmm, uh, and remaining silent when it is not required to speak, avoiding unnecessary talk. hmm. So, seeing every soul as part of the Supreme Lord, they don't look at the body. They look at you as the soul, and then they consider, um, every living entity to be part of the Lord. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunicha Swapake Pandita Samadarshana. The real wisdom is that seeing every living entity to be part of the Lord, is part of the Lord. Hmm? And then this particular verse talks about, and then let me read the 9 verses here. Uh, the last remaining 9 qualities are here, given here. Shravanam Kirtanam Chasya Smaranam Mahatam Gatehe Sevajya Vantirdhasyam Sakyam Atma Samarpanam. So this is a similar verse to what Prahlad Maharaj had said in the 5th chapter of the 7th canto, the 9 devotional processes. So they are given here. So this is hearing, chanting about Lord, remembering Lord and his devotees, offering, rendering service, worshipping, and then being, acting as servant, and relating oneself to be friend with the Lord. And Atma Samarpanam refers to Atmanivedanam, offering oneself to the Lord. So these are the primary qualities one should develop. These are 9 devotional processes. And Prabhupada writes, previously that one can perfect one's life by engaging any one of these 9 processes simply by hearing about the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit perfected his life simply by glorifying the Lord continuously. Shukadeva Goswami Maharaj, he perfected his life. Smaranam, by remembering Prahlad Maharaj, perfected his life. Hanuman perfected his life by being a servant and rendering service. Arjun as a friend. Like that. Atmanivedanam is the example of Bali Maharaj. So these devotees, they practice one of the 9 items. And whereas Ambarish Maharaj had practiced all the 9 items of devotional service, but any of the items is okay. One item is also okay. So these are the primary qualities, 9 qualifications. And the previous or 21 they are auxiliary, they are secondary. So one important point we'll read from this purport here. Okay, this is a verse Prabhupada often quotes. Please pay little attention. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunaistatra samasate suraha arava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratastena sati dhavato baihi. If one has unflinching devotional service to Krishna, all good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are constantly manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications, because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. Our Krishna conscious movement, therefore, is all embracing. Human civilization should take it seriously, very seriously, and practice its principle for the peace of this world. So, Prabhupada writes that by engaging in devotional service to the Lord, the good qualities will manifest. The good qualities that are present in Krishna and the demigods, they will be manifested in a devotee. So Krishna also says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satata yuktanam bhavat bhajatam priti purvakam dadhami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So for those who engage in my loving devotional service, I will give them the correct intelligence by which they can come to me. And sitting in their heart, I will destroy the darkness born out of this ignorance with a shining lamp of knowledge. He gives the knowledge, he cleanses the heart. So when one engages, this is what happens. Okay, so we will now move on. And this is basically in this section, Narada Muni tried to address about Yudhishthir Maharaj's first question relating to his inquiry about Sanatan Dharma, eternal occupation. And now Narada Muni talks about the rest of the chapter, focuses on 4 social orders. And it's so then the chapter 12, 13, 14, 15, they talk about the four spiritual orders. So the rest of the chapter now talks about the social orders. So 13 to 24, who would be willing to read? Is anyone?
Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, please, Mataji, go
13
ahead.
to 21, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. Those who have been reformed by the Garbhadhana ceremony and other prescribed reformatory methods performed with Vedic mantras and without interruption, and who have been approved by Lord Brahma are Dvijas or twice born. Such Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, purified by the family traditions and by their behavior, should worship the Lord, study the Vedas, and give charity. In this system, they should follow the principle of the four ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. For a Brahmana, there are 6 occupational duties. A Kshatriya should not accept charity, but he may perform the other 5 of these duties. A king or Kshatriya is not allowed to levy taxes on Brahmanas, but he may make his livelihood by levying minimal taxes, custom duties, and penalty fines upon his other subjects. The mercantile community should always follow the directions of the Brahmanas and engage in such occupational duties as agriculture, trade, and protection of cows. For the Shudras, the only duty is to accept a master from a higher social order and engage in his service. As an alternative, a Brahmana may also take to the Vaishya's occupational duty of agriculture, cow protection, or trade. He may depend on that which he has received without begging. He may beg in the paddy field every day. He may collect paddy left in a field by its proprietor, or he may collect food grains left here and there in the shops of grain dealers. There are 4 means of livelihood that may also be adopted by Brahmanas. Among these 4, each of them in succession is better than the one preceding it.
Yeah. Mataji will stop here and
Yeah.
we'll continue. Yeah, we'll stop here and then I will request you again to read.
Okay, thank you.
So, every society to function, these 4 social orders are must. So just like our human body to function, we need a head, brain. Then we need arms as protection for defense, brain to think and guide, and the belly to eat and maintain the rest of the body, and the legs to take us here and there. So brain is intelligent class. They are called Brahmanas. Administrative class, arms here, they are Kshatriyas, administrative class. And the belly, it feeds the rest of the body. They are mercantile class, the Vaishyas. And the legs refer to the laborer. So it's not one is greater than the other, but by worshipping the Supreme Lord, whoever they may be, they can attain perfection. Atha pumbirudvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagasha swanushtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. By engaging in one's occupational duty, one can achieve perfection. So as you all know, the Brahmanas means they are predominantly in the mode of goodness. Kshatriyas predominantly mode of passion. Vaishyas are mixed mode of passion and ignorance, and the laborer are usually influenced by ignorance. So, but any society to function properly, these four orders are required. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chaturvarnam Maya Srushtam Gunakarma Vibhakashaha. These classes are actually being divided. Um, it's not by birth. Krishna says guna karma, based on their quality and the work that they are doing. It's not by birth. So if someone is born to a brahmana, um, but they should also possess the qualities of a brahmana to be designated as brahmana. Similarly, in other social orders also, it is the same system. Say, for example, we have a wonderful example of what's his name, Rushabdev. Rushabdev had 100 sons. Out of 100, I think around 10, yes, 10 became Kshatriyas, the rulers of the various parts of the world. 81 out of 100, they became Brahmanas. So Rushabdev was he was a Kshatriya according to his birth. He was a king. But out of his sons, out of 10 out of 100 became administrators. But the 81 became Brahmanas, and the 9 became exalted Avadhutas. They're above the Brahmana and above Kshatriya. Great saintly people like that. Okay. So that is a little background. And so usually Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, they follow the samskar ceremony. Samskar means there are certain rituals they will perform, like marriage is one samskar, and garbhadhana, before begetting a child, they seek the blessings of the spiritual master, and there is a certain protocol. They follow it. There are various rituals. Vaishyas and Kshatriyas also, they do this to certain extent. It may vary according to the time, place, and circumstance. Mm. So, what are the duties of Brahmanas? The intelligent class, worshipping Krishna and teaching others to worship. They practice it. They teach others to worship as well. Studying Vedas and teaching Vedas. Okay, worshipping Krishna and teaching others to worship Krishna. Studying Vedas and then teaching them. Accepting charity, they'll accept charity, and giving in charity, they also give in charity. So the duties of Kshatriyas are mentioned. They cannot accept charity. As a Kshatriya, one should not accept charity. But they may perform, even Kshatriyas also may perform other 5 of these qualities, but never accept charity. And also the king will never levy taxes on Brahmanas. So, and also when they levy taxes, they should not use for their own sense gratification, but it should be used for the good cause of the society. So, and the Vaishyas, mercantile class, they should follow the directions of Brahmanas and do agriculture, trade, and cow protection. Shudras accept a master from higher social order, one of these three social orders, higher social orders, and serve them to earn their livelihood. So, without duplicity, they should be doing this. And sometimes there are alternative, like 4 alternative duties from Brahmanas are also mentioned. If they are not able to do the 6 duties, they can do other things, like they can also follow as a Vaishya, agriculture, cow protection and trading, and then they can live on begging, and begging in the paddy field, the grains, collecting the grains left in the paddy field, like that. So there are other situations. A Brahmana is sometimes offered land and cows in charity. Thus, for his livelihood, he may act in the same way as Vaishya, by cultivating land, protecting cows, and trading off his surplus. A better process, however, is to pick up grains from the field or shops. This is an alternative duties for Brahmana. Okay, so we'll move on. So Mataji, please go ahead and read the rest.
Yes, sure.
From 17 till 24.
Thank you. Except in a time of emergency, lower persons should not accept the occupational duties of those who are higher. When there is such an emergency, of course, everyone but the Kshatriya may accept the means of livelihood of others. In time of emergency, one may accept any of the various types of professions known as Rata, Amrita, Mrita, Ruta, Rata, Amrita, Mrita.
I can't hear.
Pramrita and Satyanrita. But one should not at any time accept profession of a dog. The profession of Unnachashila, collecting grains from the field, is called Ruta. Collecting without begging is called Amrita. Begging grains is called Mrita. Tilling the ground is called Pramrita, and trade is called Satyanrita. Engaging in the service of low-grade persons, however, is called Shvavriti, the profession of the dogs. Brahmanas should be well acquainted with all the Vedic knowledge, and Kshatriyas should be well acquainted with the worship of demigods. The symptoms of a Brahmana are control of the mind, control of the senses, austerity and penance, cleanliness, satisfaction, forgiveness, simplicity, knowledge, mercy, truthfulness, and complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Same qualities are also mentioned in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
To be influential in battle, unconquerable, patient, challenging, and charitable, to control the bodily necessities, to be forgiving, to be attached to the Brahmanical nature, and to be always jolly and truthful. These are the symptoms of the Kshatriya.
Always jolly. Yeah.
Being always devoted to the demigods, the spiritual master, and the Supreme Lord Vishnu, endeavoring for advancement in religious principles, economic development, and sense gratification, dharma, artha, and kama, believe in the words of the spiritual master and scripture, and always endeavoring with expertise in earning money. These are the symptoms of the Vaishya. Hare Krishna. Want me to read? further?
Yeah, 24 as well. We'll stop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Offering obeisances to the higher sections of society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, being always very clean, being free from duplicity, serving one's master, performing sacrifices without uttering mantras, not stealing, always speaking the truth and giving all protection to the cows and Brahmanas, these are the symptoms of the Shudra.
Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
various qualities of these four social orders have been mentioned. So Brahmanas means, controlling the mind, controlling the senses. They, undergo austerity, penance, very clean. They're always satisfied. Satisfaction means mode of goodness, forgiving, simplicity, truthful, mm, and completely surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uh, Brahma Lakshanam. So these are the symptoms of Brahmana. And the Kshatriya, we are all very well aware of it. So, they like to fight. They're all unconquerable. But patient is also mentioned, challenging, and they're very, very charitable. Many kings you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, very charitable. And also it is mentioned to be forgiving is also mentioned. And they respect the Brahmanical culture. Vaishyas, they take guidance from the Brahmanas, and they are worshipped in the Supreme Lord, engaged in worship of Supreme Lord and other demigods also. And they accept a spiritual master and follow their words. And always endeavoring with expertise in earning money, making money. But they, again, when they make money, they use it in the service of the Lord by giving charity, etc. Here the Shudras also mentioned, they are very clean. It is mentioned, the quality of Shudra, Shudrasya. Shaucham is mentioned, and they should not have any duplicity, but they should engage in the service of their master properly, and they can also perform sacrifices under the guidance of Brahmanas. So next, there is a section from 25 till 29, wherein the duties of a chaste wife are given. Okay. But before I mention these characteristics, let me say something. Ideally, in the Vedic system, the husband worships the Lord or engages in the devotional service of the Lord, and the wife assists that person, husband. Thereby, wife automatically gains the benefit of doing spirituality. Wife also achieves perfection. So chaste wife means chaste wife should serve a devotee husband. Please remember this point. But if that husband is unworthy, then husband should be rejected, it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So husband should be a pure Vaishnava and woman should be a chaste wife. Then both of them will be happy and make spiritual progress. A woman should serve her husband as faithfully as Lakshmi serves Narayana. That is ideal. A man should be ideal servant of the Lord, and a woman should be an ideal wife like the goddess of fortune. But Prabhupada writes in the purport, so if the husband is, if the wife is more advanced in spirituality, husband also can serve the wife. Hmm. So there are various qualities mentioned, chaste wife's qualities, such as, to keep the house clean and pure, to be modest, truthful, attend to speak sweet words, should not be greedy, should be fully conversant with the religious principle, um, to be favorably disposed uh, towards the husband, to be equally disposed toward the husband relatives and friends, etc., has been mentioned. But please note the main point. Um, yeah, the main point is that the husband should be a Vaishnava. Then only this works. So then there is also a mention of the duties of mixed classes. Mixed class means, say, for example, there are two kind of marriages: anuloma and pratiloma. So higher caste girl, a woman marries lower caste person, that is called pratuloma, and vice versa is called anuloma. And that is mentioned here. And But the one important point mentioned in the last verse, so we will read the last verse. Let me share. So Prabhupada used to often quote this verse in various purport. Yasya yallakshanam proktam pumso varnabhi vyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishet. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if ye has appeared in a different class, ye should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Okay? So we will read this purport. I'll read it. Herein it is clearly stated by Narada Muni that one should not be accepted as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra according to birth. For although this is going on now, it is not accepted by the Shastras. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Chaturvarnam Maya Srushtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. Thus, the four divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are to be ascertained according to the qualities and the activities. If one was born in a Brahmana family and has acquired Brahmanical qualification, he is to be accepted as Brahmana. Otherwise, he should be considered as a Brahma Bandhu, the friend of a Brahmana, Brahma Bandhu. Similarly, if a Shudra acquires the qualifications of a Brahmana, although he was born in a Shudra family, he is not a Shudra because he has developed the qualities of a Brahmana. He should be accepted as a Brahmana. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to develop these Brahmanical qualities, regardless of the community in which one was born. If one develops the qualities of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana. And he then may be offered order of sannyas. Unless one is qualified in terms of Brahmanical culture, one cannot take sannyas. In designating a persona, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, birth is not the essential symptom. This understanding is very important. Here in Narada Muni distinctly says that one may be accepted according to the caste of his birth if he has corresponding qualification. Qualification is the most important thing, that what it says, but otherwise it should not. One who has attained these qualifications of a Brahmana, regardless of where he was born, should be accepted as a Brahmana. Prabhupada repeats several times that same point, because it is very essential. Similarly, if one has developed the qualifications of a Shudra or a Chandala, regardless of where he was born, he should be accepted in terms of those symptoms. So Prabhupada writes in this purport that, Krishna consciousness movement is trying to engage in the devotional service, and thereby making Brahmanas regardless of their birth. And we have seen how many people, from the West had developed such a wonderful Brahminical qualifications by serving Prabhupada, by following the instructions of Prabhupada. Okay, so let me summarize this chapter quickly. So this chapter, in the beginning of this chapter, Yudhishthir Maharaj, after hearing the story and the glorification of wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj, he wanted to hear a little more from Narada Muni, and he asked two questions. One is about what is the eternal occupation of the human beings, and then the second question is about what is the social and spiritual orders. What is Varnashrama Dharma? And Narada Muni says that Sanatan Dharma means eternal occupation of every living entity is to worship the Supreme Lord regardless of their birth and the caste and the place where they are born, every living entity. So that is the Sanatan Dharma, eternal occupation. And every human being should develop these 30 qualities mentioned here, beginning from truthfulness, non-violence, giving charity, and studying Vedic scriptures, serving the saintly people, etc. And out of those 39 are very prominent. They are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. So these are the primary qualities. Prabhupada writes that one should develop these qualities, and also he mentions by becoming devotee of the Lord, one will automatically acquire some of the qualities of Krishna and the demigods. So that's why one should better engage in the devotional service. Later of the chapter talks about the Varnashrama Dharma, four social orders, the occupational duties of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras have been mentioned. Then there is the duties of a chaste wife mentioned, and at the end, it's been concluded that one should possess the qualities. It's Varna, the caste, is not based on the birth, but it is based on the quality. So that has been mentioned in this chapter. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Yes, Arya, you wanted to ask a question? Yes, go ahead, Arya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the class. I have two questions. The first one is, you know how it said that you can reach the perfectional stage by following Varnashrama Dharma, and you said how like Brahmanas are predominantly in the mode of goodness and Kshatriyas are predominantly in the mode of passion. But you know how we learn in like the Bhagavad Gita that we should all elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness because that's where knowledge is properly understood. So do we prioritize Varnashram Dharma and like say you have like the nature of like, I don't know, a Kshatriya someone, then should you prioritize that, or do you accept the idea that in Kali Yuga, you know how you say everyone's a Shudra in Kali Yuga and everyone should focus on elevating themselves to the mode of goodness and then transcending the modes and stuff?
Yeah, very good question. But in the Kali Yuga, Prabhupada writes, Shastra tells, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha, or Janmate Jayan Shudra. Everyone, by birth, everyone is a Shudra. And the Varnashrama system is disturbed. It's not in a proper order. So, see, sometimes, say, if you take me, then I do various things. Previously, I used to serve a master. Of course, now I'm serving NHS. They are my masters. And then now and then I read a little bit of Vedic literature, and I also teach. Then I look after financial matters. So it's all like, I do various things. So every individual is doing various things. The best is whoever they may be, they should better focus on the devotional aspect. So that is what I would say, rather than worrying about anything, just whoever they may be. But some are, definitely you can see that even in the temple, some like to do some service. Yes, they are engaged, but they like to do that. Somebody likes to clean the plates. I've seen somebody likes to just clean the floor, and somebody like to cook. Somebody is interested in giving classes. So whatever they are interested in, they can continue to do. But the main focus should be devotional service, and that too, that is very simple. The Shastra says it's chanting of the holy names of the Lord.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, before it said, when it was describing the qualities of Shudra, it mentioned not chanting the Vedic mantras while doing sacrifices, I think. So, like, with that logic, not with that logic, but like, if we are all Shudras and we should focus on devotion, do we follow that instruction, or?
Well, if I remember well, it is mentioned they should chant the Vedic mantras, isn't it? Like they.
I think there's a paragraph that said, in the paragraph where it said like cleanliness.
So I found this. Without, performing sacrifices without uttering mantras. Because what does it mean? Performing, what does it mean? Then, if one is not able to utter the mantra properly, because one is not trained, the Shudra is not trained in uttering the mantras. So what is your question? Then they can't utter the mantras. So they are recommended to carry on that. So what's your exact question?
So how do we know if we're trained to utter the mantra? What's the qualification?
What is the qualification? So see, that's why there are, when you read Vedic scriptures, you get confused also, because there are different instructions for different people. What we have to do is we have to take the essence of everything. Okay, so the essence, our spiritual teacher tells us that, okay, whoever you may be, you just carry on doing your duty. You chant Hare Krishna and follow four regulatory principles. That is the end of it. But you can see there are, again, we like to do certain activities even among the devotees.
Mm-hmm.
So we should carry on doing that. If whatever we are good at, we should do that. In an emergency case, we can do the other service as well in an emergency case.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not a very good cook, say, for example, but if in an emergency, then I may go and cook something simple. So this is the system. So we chant Hare Krishna, we carry on doing based on our propensity. And then we in an emergency, we can also render other services.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.